I realized I should have CC'd you on a question, and I just sent it to you. So you're in the loop. It's
HOA president called me today just to confirm that it was going to, but also he was going to get the word out. And everyone that emailed me, I did respond to them to let them know that he was going to use Jenkins. Some of them said they were still going to come though.
it's pretty great.
They may decide not to.
Call the Broken Arrow City Council meeting to order. We have an invocation by Pastor Greg Pittman.
Would you bow and pray with me? Father God, before we enter into this meeting time, we want to acknowledge you. We also want to invite your presence here tonight. And we are grateful, recognizing that all good things come from you. We're thankful for a prosperous city. We're thankful for a city that is safe. We're thankful for a growing city. And again, we acknowledge you in those things. We're thankful for our city leaders that are present here today. And for those maybe that are not, we're thankful for city employees and workers that are represented here tonight. For first responders, we're grateful for their service and the way that they are involved and sacrifice for our city. And Father, we also pray for the individuals and families that live within these city boundaries. We are praying, Father, for those that are hurting, those that are suffering. Father, we're praying that as a community that we would unite together, that there would be a strong sense of community within our neighborhoods and within apartments and with all kinds of living arrangements where people come together, loving their neighbor as themselves and looking out for one another. And Father, as we enter into a time where decisions are going to be made, we're praying for wisdom for these leaders in those decisions. We're praying for courage for them. We're praying for unity in this meeting right now. And again, we invite you to be a part of it. We pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Roll call.
Ford.
Here?
Udi.
Here.
Parks. Here. Gillespie.
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. Please stand and join Councilor Parks for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Are there any items from the consent agenda to be removed?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Roll call.
Mayor.
In the consent agenda, there was an update regarding our ERP program. A council member or two that had requested that, and there was a slideshow that went with that. If any council members got a question about the status of any aspect of the plan, just please let Michaela or me know. Obviously, there's many different modules and many different aspects of that. I mean, that was a major investment that we used predominantly general obligation bond money. So I appreciate the council members asking for those updates, but things are moving along very well. But obviously, when you do this major conversion, there's going to be some hiccups here and there. But I'm very pleased with the efforts. And if there are any questions, staff is here tonight ready to answer those questions. And I appreciate the question.
Thank you. All right, we're moving to public hearings, appeals, presentation, recognitions, and awards. Item 7A, presentation of a service award to Councilman Johnny Parks for his exceptional dedication to the city of Broken Arrow.
Thank you.
So I believe we have a presentation for you. Got a 40-year pin
Okay.
for you. Broken Arrow on it.
Sure does. It's a broken arrow. Appreciate it very much. Thank you all.
And have to move his popcorn.
It's a
Skinny pop.
popcorn holder.
Yes. Oh, pretty.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Marta, look. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
I just want to thank you for the I guess, what is it, 5.5 years now? It's been a pleasure to serve alongside you. You've been an amazing mentor. You've helped me along the way. I tell you, I think 2020, the worst part of 2020, not COVID, it was us being separated. So I'm glad to have you back beside me. So
Thank you. I appreciate it, Mary.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
on that note, does anyone else have anything to share? You have your popcorn back.
We had a chance to honor Councilor Parks in a reception prior to this, but I think the Vice Mayor's comments almost made me cry earlier because they're heartfelt. I don't want to rob her comments, but I would add to things she said, and I'll let her say whatever she wishes to. But 8 years ago, when I was first elected, I knew everyone on this dais except for Councilor Parks. He and I had met a time or two, but I didn't know him well. And since the time I was elected, he's become probably one of my closest friends on the council of anyone who served here. And I've been friends with all of them. But I've come to value his strong leadership, his calm leadership, his strong hand, his willingness to stand up to stand up for any principle that he believes is the right one, in spite of opposition that might be heavy. He's not willing to back down when he believes he's right. And that's something we can always be proud of. My highest honor is not just being a city councilor, but serving with this council and the many councilors I have, but among them, the best of them, all respect to my fellow councilors, is Johnny Parks.
Yes.
And this city is blessed to have him in the leadership positions it has for the last 40 plus years, because he's only had the heart of this city in his heart.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Johnny, I'll just repeat what I said earlier because I want it on the record. So, but I mentioned earlier in our reception that to me, the mark of a true leader and just someone that I look up to and respect is someone that their family looks up to and respects. And when I look out and see, someone that their grandkids are here and their children and their wife and when you have, and a wife that has been married to you for how many years? You gonna get this right? 55 years. and she still loves you. And so, and you can tell, I love watching you all together, and it's just so sweet. And to me, we can do everything in the world, but if we don't live that Christian walk and have a family that, cares, it's hard to be happy. And so that's a really amazing trait. But thank you for your service to our city as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I just want to echo the same thing. Thank you for your 40 years of service to this city, and just the knowledge that you have is just price, you just can't put a
Yeah.
price on that for sure. And I appreciate serving with you on the council and also on some other boards that we've served with. And I say congratulations to the city for letting us, for you giving us your time. Congratulations for
Well,
being
Is it 42 years?
Yeah.
I guess
Well,
42 years?
it's 42 years.
Even when
I'll
while
take
you
the
were in
40.
prison?
Yeah.
I was in prison just for 10 years, but I worked hard when I was in prison. I might say after that, she's always gets on to me when I always tell people that, I was in prison for 10 years. I just don't go ahead and say that I was working in prison and come home every evening. And the mayor said one time, you're going to have to start telling them that you were just working in prison. I would just say that I celebrate those that came before me. We all learn. We all have mentors that we learn from. I remember Dr. Newcomb. He was my campaign manager. He got me into this to start with, and he was the mayor here. Pap Reynolds. All of the people that have served on the council with me, I could just name some that I learned a lot from. Now, some I didn't learn a lot, but I tried to cast it aside, but we won't name them. But the ones that I learned a lot from, it just kind of builds up. And you learn those qualities and you try to make you a good person. So you learn from those people you're around. I encourage my fellow counselors to continue doing the same thing and encouraging one another. It's one thing that I learned, the most difficult thing, it's okay to disagree.
Yeah.
And Pap Reynolds was a good one to teach me that. Johnny, we'll disagree, and to disagree with him, he would come back later and let me know if he was right. But to disagree with him, he would always lean over and say, the next item is a new item. Just leave it behind. And I learned that. So you won't see me get mad because I lose a vote. And that's the way we are. You know what I mean? And that's the way I encourage my fellow counselors.
That was one of the very first things you shared with me. And I think the very first time we voted differently, my first year in 17, I think, you leaned over and you said, good job. You're still like, even though we voted differently.
I said it, but I didn't think it. You know what I mean? What you say is what's
All
really
this time I
important.
thought you thought that.
I might add, though, that when you do vote a different way than Johnny does, you have to double check and make sure you're voting right.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate the evening. I didn't ask for it, but it's quite an honor that you've done for me. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All righty. Item 7B is a presentation of post-event update from Arts OK Chocolate Festival. Jennifer Rush.
Good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor and Council and City Manager. At the September 6th council meeting, a contract was approved in the amount of $7,500 for the Chocolate Up Festival. During that discussion amongst council, had asked or requested for a post-event update. So we have Jennifer Deal here to give that post-event update.
Good evening. So I'm dressed a little casual. You guys have meetings Tuesday nights. That's when it was in my calendar. But I'm glad that they texted me.
I think you look lovely.
So we and the Rose Festival people are here also, and we felt like the event was a huge success. I think there were probably more people attending the event than we've ever had. So I talked to one of the police officers on Friday night, and he said that he felt like at any one time we probably had at least 4,000 people there, and that was Friday night. And then Saturday, it got even bigger and busier. We had 50 vendor artists that participated. And I talked to the VBA the other day. One of the things that I think is really, really cool about our event is that it's for those artists that are just dipping their toe in the water and starting to experiment. That's why we like to keep the prices for the vendor artists fairly low. And that way it's not cost prohibitive for them to come and see if this is something that they want to do. Sure. We had 59 chalk artists. We had to shut it down, which we've never had to do before because we were running out of room. So we'll really have to give some thought next year to if we want to grow the event another block, if we can afford to grow the event another block, or if we're going to have to change the format just a little bit. but we were really excited about that. We also partnered with the Rose Festival to do an art show in the Art Center, and we had 132 pieces of art, and we had people from all over the Tulsa area. So I feel like that was a great partnership, and my hope is that we can just add to the partnership every year. I'm excited that Arts OK has hired a development director. And so, up till now with us and with the fundraising for the event, it's been kind of hit and miss because it depends on who we have that's helping us do all of that. We aren't all blessed to have people like Mayor Wimpy that help raise money. And so I'm really, really excited about that development director because I think she will help us. It's such an amazing event that I really, really hope that there are lots of ways that we can get even more support now that we have her expertise along with it. So any other questions? Your support was huge though, because that does allow us to keep the prices very, very low. Our chalk artists, the money that we charge them just covers their t-shirt and their chalk and lunch the next day. That's all. I think we make maybe $3 off the deal off of our chalk artists. So it's that support that really has helped us.
Well, my understanding is it was so well attended by artists and other vendors that in order next year, you may have to expand a block if
Right.
we're going to keep going. And that's, I know it's so did you feel that, is there demand, your sense of demand from participants as well as the observers?
I was really, really excited about how many participants we had, both as chalk artists and as vendor artists. I really feel like it's just going to keep on growing. And I know that some of you were down there because I got to see you. It really shows off downtown Broken Arrow so well. It just fills it up with color and with art and with music and all that kinds of. So I appreciate your support so much.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, and I won't put you on the spot right now, but you could if you want to email back but I just want to know how you feel we could help more to promote the event. If there's anything in retrospect, kind of a post event, that we could do, if there is anything that we could do better to promote it. And, because I want to make sure that we, every single event we're doing everything we can as a city to promote. And also who do we actually promote it to? Is there do we have a demographic that you're promoting to? And
See, she's going to get into all of that.
Who's our customer?
Detailed stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying.
Definitely. There we go.
Well, that's what I was saying. You don't have to
next
answer right
fall?
now, but just maybe an email just to say, this is maybe something we could do that would help, the city could have done to help promote it. Not extra money, even just
Right.
Social media, if you feel like we did a good job.
I will think on that, but to be honest with you, I have been amazed over the years at the amount of support that we've gotten from you guys, whether it's billboards, whether it's social media. I just feel like you guys have embraced us, and I can't thank you enough for all of that support. If I think of anything else, I'll certainly let you know, but I feel so blessed to be here in Broken Arrow, not only with that crazy, but we wouldn't have that crazy art center if it weren't for how supportive you guys are of the arts. I can't tell you how many people walk into that building and they're like, Broken Arrow built this? Okay, and that started 10 years ago when Chalk It Up started even happening. And kudos to you guys for being that kind of a community.
Mayor.
And so just to keep it up.
First off, when she says crazy, that's crazy good.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's answer the vice mayor's question. What happens is usually without fail, either Sharon or Beverly will send me an email sometime after the beginning of the year and say, can we sit down and talk about what we need for the upcoming event? So I fully expect it probably at 12:02 on January 2nd. So yes, we sit down and talk about that. But so if there is anything, and I'm glad you asked that question, that we can do, obviously to assist, and we try to do it within kind with our folks, but we'll certainly open to any suggestion they have to try to grow the event.
Well, and it is primarily for both the Keep Broken Arrow Beautiful and Arts Okay. It's primarily a volunteer run event. I think the only people who get paid are some of the performers that are entertained. Other than that, and there's some like a prize for the top award or getter or something like that. I think otherwise it's just driven by volunteer hours.
It is. We don't, my staff helped this year, which was really cool, but it's totally a volunteer driven event. And I would love to think an art festival could bring in massive amounts of money, but I mean, in my opinion, if we want to have an arts festival, it needs to break even. It needs to support itself. Very rarely are you going to find one that brings in massive amounts of money. So, but it's so worth it. And if you don't know that, just come to the next Chalk It Up Rose Festival and watch the people young and old there. So
It is a great event. I enjoy it. I take my grandchildren and they enjoy it too. It's a good event.
and hopefully I didn't take too much of what you guys are going to say. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, item 7C, presentation of post-event update from the Keep Broken Arrow Beautiful 2022 Rose Festival. Hi again.
Hi. So this, as Jennifer explained, this event ran in conjunction with Chalk It Up. And so we have Beverly Forster to talk about Keep Broken Arrow Beautiful and how the Rose Festival went.
Well, first I want to just thank you guys so much because with your help this year, you have taken our festivals to a brand new level. And if you haven't caught the story, you need to understand that it's two very needy little nonprofits that bring you this party every year. And it is all volunteer based. And I'm so grateful to Chalk It Up and Jennifer Deal. They are perfect people to blend what we're trying to do together. For the record, I've watched the old city council meetings and I've watched how city council fought for our arts and entertainment center and what it took to bring this to pass. And I think we represent an amazing party to celebrate what you all have created here. So as far as the Rose Festival is concerned, we are just a whole bunch of madness, making a whole free, wild, family-friendly weekend. And free is big to us. We want it to be for all ages. We don't ever want a child to come and hear the words, "I'm sorry, dear, you can't do that." All of our stuff is free. So I'm just made a little list of things we do, okay? So our welcome group, by the way, some of our committee is here and some of the strongest, most devoted human beings I've ever seen. So yay, them. Okay, bottom line is, Welcome Booth provides and creates 2,200 free rose bracelets every year, which we gave out, every one of them. The art contest, we give away $1,000 in cash prizes and ribbons. No fee to enter, anybody can. The Rose Show was so beautifully decorated, became a photo spot this year. We spent more money on that. The Kids Zone. We provide 1,000 free kites for kids to decorate for our big kite event on Sunday. We gave out 612 Friday and Saturday, and luckily our supplier was there. We bought 300 more, and before the weekend was over, we gave out 1,212 kites. Yes. So we also have free kids zones. The different churches in our community come and just donate the crafts. And so we have free kids zone crafts, and we also have Dave and Buster's. Carmen was here with her traveling barnyard. Say hi, Carmen. Anyway, it's just a big fun event. For the Rose Garden, our Rose Garden in Central Park is actually happening now. Thank you for your support in that. So we are a fundraiser for that. But our whole emphasis in that area, and by the way, Main Street Square let us use their whole parking area there on Main and Dallas. So we had lots of space to share our information. We had all kinds of people there from Native Plants. Oklahoma Conservation came and taught yard by yard. We shared about our garden. We had bee people there. And one really cool thing was Okies for Monarchs brought Sarah Dykman. Have you ever heard of her? She wrote a book called Bicycling with the Butterflies. And she, on a bicycle by herself, went 10,201 miles with the butterflies, monarchs, from Mexico to Canada, and then in the fall came back to Mexico, and she was there. Isn't that exciting? So anyway, we are achieving our goal. And then Sunday, the third day of our event, is the big kite event. We have become a premier kite event in the state. Did you know that? Yeah. People that were there, the president and vice president of the American Kite Association were there. Okay. Of course, the Tulsa Wind Riders were there. We had a huge historic kite tent. It was a 300 square foot tent. full of the most amazing kites. There was a World War II kite that they would actually fly on the back of the ships, and they had rudders, so they would actually loop and spin like planes, and the soldiers would practice shooting them down. But anyway, just an amazing, amazing thing. They're coming back next year with more Japanese and Chinese kites, lots of color. What I'm trying, of course, we have our food trucks and our street performers. It's a grand party. You can picnic, you can have a good time with your family. It's just beautiful. We have the food. I just want to say that with your help, we were able to have a stage this year. We will have live performers. We had street performers. I figured up every penny that you all gave us, plus the 10th anniversary money, and it came out like $200 extra that we spent all of that in taking this festival to a new level. And we're so grateful that you catch our vision. Like I can tell you, Convention and Visitors Bureau caught our vision back in 2014 and has helped, and you have continued that. So we're just really, really grateful. So do you have any questions? Oh, you want to know who we advertise to? What's our demographic? It's everybody. It should be from children to all ages. We do well on children. We're not doing well on the elderly. We had a little woman on her walker that was actually diaphoretic. I'm sorry, that's an ER term, sweating and shaky, trying to get to the Rose Festival. And I'd like to find funding for a trolley, tram, something, so it's open to everybody in this community. We're just truly, truly grateful. When you approved the money, I cried.
Oh.
And I'll cry today. Questions? Oh, one other thing. We advertise. We advertise in 5 states through the American Kite Association, the American Rose Society, which we are members of. And we also advertise heavily in northwestern Arkansas because they come here and shop. So, questions?
Were you able to raise any funds at the event? Or is this one
How
more
we
not
raise
like
funds.
a raise fund?
Our sponsors pay for our T-shirts, so every T-shirt is a total donation to the garden.
Okay.
All the money that Jennifer and her crew take in, all the marketplace vendors, artists, booths, food trucks, all that money is compiled. Every penny of it is divided in half. It goes to our different groups, Hearst of the Arts Center, us. We did the best we had this year. All the dust hasn't settled yet from money coming in and out, but we're hoping probably at least a $7,000 donation to the garden. Maybe but it's a fundraiser. Our garden's happening, and that's up to you guys too. So, anything else?
I was just curious. We talked about this at the Visit Broken Arrow meeting. One of the things is our Rose Society and our Rose Group. We actually have people from Tulsa and the Tulsa Rose organizations come here and participate. Is that
Absolutely.
correct?
In fact, 1/3 of their members are from Broken Arrow. So how about that?
Yeah.
We're famous for it. Yes, they come and help, and they won their Best in Show this year.
So we're getting Tulsa people to come here.
Absolutely. Tulsa, Jenks, I don't know. There were so many people that came from all over. We have entries from the art show from all over the area. We have a really, our Rose District is famous, you guys. And in all our advertisement, we say, come and visit our Rose District. See it filled with roses and art and music and entertainment. And that's what we're sending out to everybody. And we're well known to you guys. And this is our celebration. So thank you for helping us make it what it is.
Thank you.
And this is exactly why I wanted you guys to present and have it on the record, because I'm somebody that is, as long as I know that what we're spending money on is something that affects all of our community, and it is. But there are things you guys, the passion and the love for this that you guys can show. Yes. No one else can do that except for you. And so that's why it's so important that we have you come and present, because there are people sitting here right now are like, how did I miss this? How did I, why did I not go? That are like, well, when they see it next year, they will for sure go. But people watching this, believe it or not, there are people that watch our city council meetings in California. It's weird, but it's true. And so, but it's, in that, I'm like, how bored do you have to be to watch a city council meeting? But okay.
They're trying to figure out how to do it correctly.
They're trying to figure out how to move here is what they're trying to do. But they see this and they're like, I want to go there. And so it's a tourist destination. And, but the passion and the love that you all have for this, that is what it sells this more than anything. And then once people come, they're excited about it. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? All right. Items 8 is citizens' opportunity to address the council. We have one person signed up. We cannot take action since it's not an agenda item, but you have 3 minutes to come and share with us. And it's Anthony Palercio. Did I say that right? Pretty close? Okay. Okay.
I'm Anthony Palercio. This is my wife, Destiny.
Hi.
We're currently building a house on 3303 South First Place. And there's a couple of items we wanted to bring to the attention and consideration. Our builders run into a couple of hiccups, one of them being a request to tap into the city sewer. Unfortunately, on the east side of our property, the sewer is about 300 feet away, correct, Destiny? And it runs uphill. So we are actually putting in an aerobic septic system instead of tapping into the sewer. So it may just be a procedural thing that we just are asking for an exemption on tapping into the sewer. And the other item being, they are also asking to have a sidewalk put in front of it's an agricultural zone property on the front of our property. And there's already a sidewalk on the west side of South First Place. And it just seems like it would be kind of impractical to put it there, both financially not feasible
the
for
main
us.
thing
and
is,
also-
we have about 700 linear feet of frontage there on our property. And our builder is saying that the financial encumbrance is astronomical for us to, if we did have to pay for that out of our pocket on the sidewalk portion. Also, I believe when we purchased the property, I want to say that the city does own that. There was an issue when we were purchasing it on an easement. So I think the city now owns that whole portion on the sidewalk in the street area. So we don't own that part anymore. And then also on the left side of our property, the north side, there's a huge, like a 20-foot flood creek, I guess you'd say, that kind of cuts off access to like the rest of First Place, to other homes and stuff. So, but yeah, our
So
builder
the
was
sidewalk would just, if it did exist, it would just kind of
just be on
bump into
ours.
that and then just in front of our property. And it's also a little bit of a vulnerability concern for us since we're not within a neighborhood. We have 3 small children, and just being open to where strangers would be walking right on our
In front of our
property
home.
all the time is a big concern for us as well. So those are the 2 items that we were wanting to present for exemption.
Okay.
I
So
didn't understand. You're putting an aerobic system in, but the sewer is too high. The city sewer is too high for you to get on.
Right, so it's to the east of our property, about 300 feet away, and it goes uphill.
So there's a large, a flood zone actually that goes all along the whole entire 3/4 of our property. And so the actual sewer is on top of this erosion. So there's rocks that go up. So our builder is saying it's just not feasible to have the sewer go up the hill about 25 feet and to have to bore through all that rock, because there's a bunch of rock now that goes up kind of from that erosion. So he just said it's just not.
Is this the new construction south of, across from the church south?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. 33.
I run down there.
Oh,
you do?
really?
So you-
Yeah.
okay.
That's
Which
what
is why the sidewalks.
where is it?
It's.
There's
but-
a nice bike trail. on
No,
the
I
other
know,
side.
Well, I run on that side, but generally the policy is that when you improve a piece of property that runs on an arterial, or that the owner, when it's improved, puts in a sidewalk to increase walkability. But I know that there are some things we talked about in the past of how to handle that differently for these circumstances. Who have you talked to at the city? Have you addressed this with anyone at the city?
So
But I mean, besides the council yourself.
this
Right.
is basically the
This is
first
the only thing.
official.
Our
and-
builder is doing everything he can, but it's been very difficult to find the right people to talk to. It's always someone else, I don't know. It's very technical, and he's doing his absolute best. I love him, but it's been very challenging. We've been building for 7 months now, and it was
costs are rising.
it's been financially hard right now, even with building the house. And so when I think originally we got the permits and it was approved, but there was these 2 items, and the person or the gentleman he spoke to said, "Oh, it's not a problem. We'll just get an exemption for that. Don't worry about the septic and the sidewalk. We just need to discuss that." And so
And then it resurfaced
and then
just recently again.
just recently when we were trying to get the aerobic system, that's when we've kind of are now here with you guys just discussing it.
Is the land, your property, is it in the city? I know the front is, but is your house
Yeah,
inspected
yes,
by the
it's in-
city?
Yeah, it's in city limits. It's, yeah, on the east side of First Place.
Let me suggest this, Mayor, members of council. I want to ask Kenny if he will actually, Mr. Schwab will actually take the residents out in the hallway and get their information, and then he can, because both of these items related to community development and utilities, obviously there are times when folks can pay into our sidewalk fund because it may not be feasible. But if the code requires there to be a sidewalk there, that needs to be there. But sometimes it's not practical and it doesn't make sense. But yet at some point there is going to be a sidewalk. So I'm going to ask if Kenny will talk to the folks about this, see what we can do to help them, and then I'll report back to council.
My only thought, and this was a question that came to mind, is when and if we expand first, will this be a duplicate? Will it have to be torn out and a new sidewalk put in anyway?
Yes, I could see in the next bond package that I would include at least putting in a widening of that road for shoulders, because that road in that area definitely could use some help. And so what I don't want to do is have something be installed and then have to tear it out. And for 209th, for example, the Timber Ridge, that's a perfect example. They're required to put a sidewalk in, and they're going to pay into our sidewalk fund because we're getting ready to widen that mile of road. And then we'll use the money they provide when we put the sidewalk in. So there may be some options here. I'm not familiar with this, but I think the best thing to do, because actually both of them fall underneath Kenny's division, is have him speak to Kenny and let him look into it with our folks. And then I'll report back to council, see what we can do to help.
And on that form, I put our current address, not the address.
Right. I went to look up the address and I was like, that's not up of First.
Yeah.
It's 3303 South First Place.
Well, I can drive right to it.
Yeah, you know exactly what
I
it
mean,
is.
I've seen your house drive, because
Yeah.
I drive that way to work 2 or 3 times a day from sitting back off the road.
It's a
So I
very
know exactly.
Slow work in progress.
So Mr. Schwab, he's the assistant manager of operations, is going to visit with you,
Okay,
take down your information, and then I'll report back to council to see what we can do. Okay.
okay, thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, item 9, general council business. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of resolution number 1498, a resolution calling for and requesting the Tulsa County Election Board to conduct a nonpartisan special election on February 14th, 2023.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Trevor.
Hi, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. As the body may recall, 2 weeks ago, we had previewed ordinance 3750, which is the franchise agreement that the city would enter into with PSO. The current franchise agreement was for 25 years. It expires this May. And so what the resolution before you would do would be send the ordinance 3750, should the council approve it, to a vote of the people. Franchise agreements under Oklahoma law require a vote of the people. It's a nonpartisan election. Tulsa County Election Board will take care of setting up the particulars. It would be on Valentine's Day this year. So you could take your date to the polls.
To the polls.
Yes, absolutely. I'm happy to
can
answer
see
any
the
questions
romantic.
Yeah,
You can see the campaign already.
Yes.
Yes.
that you might have about the resolution. We recommend that you adopt resolution number 1498.
Real quick, does Wagner County as well participate in that?
Yes, they
Would it be
do.
both dual?
And we've been in contact with the Tulsa County Election Board, and they will conduct the election for both counties
Okay.
because we do have part of our city limits that do go over into the Wagner County
Sure.
area.
Cool. All right.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 1498.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Motion passes. Thank you, Trevor. All right, item 9B, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the revised City of Broken Arrow Purchasing Manual. Cindy Arnold, you did not bring us all new copies, did you?
No, I didn't. Good evening. November 2nd, 2010, the City Council approved the Broken Arrow Purchasing Manual. We have done a couple of revisions in the past. This revision is basically taking some of the $25,000 limits and bringing it up to $50,000. Like, for example, for the quote to be 2,500 to 50,000 instead of 2,500 to 25,000. And then the competitive bid would be anything over 50. Finally, it also should be noted that the purchasing manual does not apply to the public construction contract, which are governed by the Oklahoma competitive bid. Staff recommends approving the revised purchasing manual.
Mayor, if I can, I could boil all this down. I could come up with a litany of things why I'd like to ask for your consideration of this. I think it's never been more important with supply chain issues and the shortages that we're dealing with. And there are many times in situations where this will, if for vehicles, for example, are extremely hard to get. Having a little bit of flexibility. I've never been comfortable having a higher limit, even though it's on my responsibility, because that provides transparency and accountability when it's a little bit lower. But in this case, we're within the state law to be able to do this, and this would give me some flexibility to help the staff and whenever there's such issues.
And the
that we need
last
to
time
fix
it
up
was
immediately.
adjusted was in 2004, I think, and it was at
Yeah.
25,000 and present value is almost 50,000.
Well, and just for the record, it's always in our consent. So we are made aware of what it is. It's not as if you just
Yes.
approve spending and no one knows what's on there. So
My only concern has always been with this, or even when we change the way we do the checks and the disbursements, is what if we don't approve the disbursement that was made under these process? What if the council
Well,
doesn't
we still
approve?
get 3 quotes. I mean, and we do the ratification. I mean, I guess that could be an issue, but the city manager would have authority to go ahead and approve it. So I would think.
But
if
we
there was a-
ratify that, don't we?
Yes.
Okay, what if it's not ratified by council?
So the way I would interpret the ordinance is once you've given the city manager the authority to execute and enter into those agreements, and those are going to be legally binding. I mean, certainly if council decided not to ratify that, I think that would be an unusual situation that I think we'd have to end up paying. That would be my.
We'd have to what?
And
We would be required to comply with the agreement the city manager had entered into.
I will say this is that if I did, my position actually did that, then council should bring that up, and that would be direction that those type of items are not going to be something the council is going to support. So if that happened to me, I was questioned and the council felt like, well, you shouldn't have purchased it. I think we would be legally obligated, but it would be clear to me from now on, those types of purchases or something similar, I would know that's something that I would have to bring the governing body. That's how I would handle it.
And we also are in the practice too, if we have like we adopt our budget and we have the list of projects, even if it's under the 25,000 and that project was not in there, we bring it to council before we purchase it because you have not seen it before.
Right.
So that would fall into that also. You would have seen if it was something, unless it was an emergency. And then, if it's a public health or welfare emergency, the authority's there. But we even bring back to councils under 25,000 if it's a new project that you have not seen or heard of before.
But there have been some things that probably I wouldn't consider an emergency, but we still had to I was thinking like the ambulances, that ambulance that we had to like make a decision right then because it was like there and we had to do it. It doesn't like nobody would die if we didn't get it, but it wasn't an emergency health wise, but it still was like something we needed to do right then.
The way the supply chain is right now, if we can get a vehicle, whether a truck or an ambulance or anything, that's almost an emergency because they
Yeah.
sell it
Okay.
right out from underneath.
Okay.
well, and I've
Exactly.
actually
We have had that problem, just
yeah.
bringing stuff to council. And all of a sudden the dealer says, well, sorry, we've already sold it.
Well, and I've had mayors reaching out because they're going through this very same thing and wanting
Yeah.
to know if they can, how if we've done it. And I was like, as a matter of fact, it's coming up, that very thing. So, and it's because of supply issues. And so,
Because we've run into that more than once.
all right.
But this is like one of the prime examples, you said the ambulance, the engine
Yeah.
would have been the prime example.
Yeah. Okay.
We could have
Yeah.
gone ahead and ordered the engine
Right.
instead of bringing it to council or going out,
Right. And delayed that time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, we're still going to find out about it later on.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And we've hired a good city manager and we've watched him for a few years now. So I think he's pretty wise and knows what we would agree or not. But, if we did run into a problem, we could maybe go back and redo it. But I'm in favor of it. I just think, my wife and I have been trying to buy a vehicle for a couple of years now and you can't really get one. So,
And unfortunately, a
More
lot
power
of the
to you.
vehicles are 25,000 and above.
yeah,
Yep.
Uh-huh.
right.
I'll make a motion to approve the revised city manual.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Motion passes. Item
Thank you.
9C. Thank you, Cindy. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval to authorize a request for qualification to prepare a housing and demographic study in accordance with the next comprehensive plan. Larry Curtis.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. As you know, the comprehensive plan was adopted by City Council back in 2019. And then within that document has set a number of goals that the city should undertake in the next 20 to 40 years. As such, to accommodate the goals of the comprehensive plan and guide the future growth of the city while emphasizing the quality of life, this proposed project for the housing and demographic study is to retain a consultant to assist us through that process. As you know, we are going through many, many growing pains as a city that continues to grow within the region. And as such, this will help guide us on all types of housing development that is needed and provide us with the demographics that we need to better accommodate our current citizens and our potential future citizens as well. And we simply ask that you direct us to go ahead and move forward with the RFQ, the request for qualifications, and move forward with that.
All right, have any discussion?
I will say in the last few months, I've used that comprehensive plan book. In fact, I moved it from one room to the room I'm in all the time.
Nice.
So I can look at it. Yeah. It makes for good reading, especially if you think you're getting in a bind.
Yeah. When did we amend the last one?
2019.
Okay. It seemed like it was sooner than that.
It seemed like yesterday.
Because it seemed like a rather painful process at the time. Okay.
And
Joyous
as you know, I'm
process.
very happy we're looking at this, and I think it's important, and I'm very excited. It's my understanding that the school district that will be brought in.
They will be. So this will, they will be a part of that process to help find out what kind of impact these types of housings will have on our community as a whole, including the schools. They'll be a part of the committee.
I think that's perfect. Really good thing.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the
Second.
request.
Motion and a quick second. Roll call. Motion passes. Item 9D, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an authorization to execute a contract with Tool Design to perform complete streets and streetscape study. Larry.
Yes, we had 4 consultants that submitted to our RFQ for the complete streets and the landscaping study. The committee that was appointed by council has reviewed those 4 and selected one tool to move forward with an interview by staff and by a subcommittee of 2 members of that group. And so we interviewed them, went exceptionally well. They encouraged us to move forward with a contract, to come up with a contract agreement, which we have. And that is what is before you today, is the contract agreement.
I make a motion to approve and authorize execution of a contract with Tool Design for the complete street study and streetscape. Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call.
I'm very excited about this.
Yes, me too.
Me too.
We're all excited. We're all excited.
I'm excited.
Okay, I'm excited too. All right, 9E.
I don't know that I believe you.
Item 9E, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a city official appointed by the city manager to the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission Exploratory Committee. Larry Curtis.
Yes, so this committee is coming together, and so the city manager has made a selection to appoint me to serve on that committee, which I'm very happy to do so.
That is a great choice. Good job.
Good job.
I'll make a motion to approve that, I guess.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Motion passes. Larry, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good appointment.
Yes. All right, one more for you. Item 9F, consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding PUD 126-2022, a rezoning of the enclave at Southern Trails.
Yes, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, this is an application that came before Planning Commission for review for a rezoning in PUD for commercial and multifamily use. But at this time, that was included with the staff report, is that the applicant had requested continuance to December 3rd and has since asked to actually continue it to the January 3rd meeting because they would like to have a public meeting with all the interested individuals in that area to make sure to answer any questions that they may have and to hopefully answer any questions that the developers have as well within that area. We have received a list of individual developers in that area, which we'll be handing over to them as well. But it is your choice to either continue it or to hear it this evening or not. So I'll start with that before going into the actual report.
I would like to also, I mean, you're asking them to meet with the surrounding developers.
They are actually asking to meet with the public, and so that includes the citizens that live in that area and the
Okay.
developers within that area.
So who will get an invitation to that?
I do not know. That will
Okay.
be,
Because I would like to encourage them to meet with the HOAs of
Mhm.
Rabbit Run, of course, and Nottingham,
Mhm.
because that's, right there
I'll be sure to pass that along.
across the street.
Well, and I'd like to attend as well. So if we could find
Yeah.
out too.
Absolutely.
I'd like to say, I think they probably win the award of the most people that are concerned with what's going on there.
Yeah.
And good, I've met with them and they have some really good points. So I'm looking to come out with a good project, if we come out with a project, but I look at it as democracy in action, people getting input. We're allowing them, we're listening to them. We're getting ready to table it until January the 3rd. So I'm pleased with it. But,
And one of the things that, we have a nice subdivision that's going in just to the south of where this potential project would be. And I want to make sure that whatever ends up being there is, works with that, because they are selling lots right now, and people are making decisions on where they want to live based on that. But the other thing is, and that's why I'm really happy we're doing the housing study and all of that, is because whenever I think all of y'all received that Excel spreadsheet that had all of the apartments that we have in the city, and we have, and I talked with Larry about this the other day, but I'm taking this out of my head. So, but it's like we have about 7,700 units of apartments in individual apartment units in our city. And right now we have approved that potential apartments that are approved, that doesn't mean all of them are going to get built, but they are approved, over 850. So that would be increasing our current apartment units by over 10%. And then we have another over 1,000 that are out there projected. So I want to be very purposeful in how I keep hearing the number 95%, like we're always at 90. We've been at 95% like since I became a counselor. So and we talked about that, maybe contacted them again just to make sure where the occupancy really is now. But I'm not against multifamily, and I like the fact that we have different kinds of multifamily in our city. But at the same time, if we've been at 95% for 3.5 years that I've been a counselor, and we're adding 10 to 12% on top of that, I just want to make sure that what we're doing makes sense. And, for not just this area of town, but all areas of town.
Agreed. All right.
Make a motion to table the item to be heard on January 3rd, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Thanks. All right. There are no preview ordinances. Item 11A of ordinances is consideration, discussion, and possible approval of ordinance number 3750, an ordinance granting to Public Service Company of Oklahoma. Trevor.
Thank you, Mayor and Vice Mayor, council members again. The item before you was previously previewed 2 weeks ago. This is the actual franchise agreement with PSO. It provides for a 25-year term, allows them to sell electricity in our city, use our right-of-ways in exchange for certain fees that are outlined in the agreement. There's also provisions in there about the city's ability to purchase their facilities at some point in the future, should the council desire to do so. I'm happy to answer any specific questions you may have. Recommendation is that you pass the ordinance and then adopt the emergency clause. And this is the ordinance that would then be sent to the electors at the Valentine's Day election.
Is there any discussion, questions?
I just appreciate all the hard work that I know this has not it's been more than overnight to take care of this.
Yes.
There's been a lot, many,
Yes.
many days and hard work put in there, and I read it and I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 3750.
A
Second.
motion and a second. Roll call. Motion passes. Move for emergency clause.
Move for emergency clause 3750.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Comes up.
Thank you, Trevor. Item 11C, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3751, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of the city of Broken Arrow approving BAZ 1979, along with PUD 262.
Yes, so just to let you know that items C, D, E, F, G, nope, sorry, F, not G, these are all changes that are, they've gone through the process of having our items taken care of. The property's been platted, all their site plans, all their engineering's in place, and so all these items are changes to the zoning map.
Last time I tried to do these en banc, it screwed everything up, but
I make a motion to approve 3751.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Move for emergency clause.
this is why.
When it gets up.
There we go. We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
And I'll make a motion to approve, to adopt ordinance number 3752 when it comes up.
A
Second.
motion and a second. Roll call. A motion for emergency clause.
When it comes up.
A motion and a second. Roll call. Motion passes.
Those are the fastest ordinances I think we've ever done.
Item 11G, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3753, an ordinance of the city of Broken Arrow amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 2 Purchases, Section 225. Cindy.
Good evening. G through P are mine, but I am going to mention each one a little bit
Okay.
because there's something specific each section. The first one, ordinance 3753. This is just basically an ordinance changing the 25,000. We had different ordinances for each, like basically sections of the purchasing policy, and this changes the 25,000 to 50,000.
Okay.
Make a motion to adopt 3753.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. We have a motion to move for emergency clause.
Got it.
And a second. Roll call. All right, item 11I, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3754.
With this ordinance, we're changing the general procedures for purchasing, which would raise the quotes from 25,000 to 2,500 to 50,000. It used to be 2,500 to 25, and then anything over 50,000 would go out for competitive bid.
Move to approve.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Roll call.
For emergency clause.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Eleven K, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3755.
Ordinance number 3755, this is the formal competitive bidding requirements exceptions. But after further discussion, we would also like to add to the ordinance in section 2-26B, which is in the purchasing manual. to include a statement that says city manager at his discretion may authorize the purchasing manager to follow the procedures outlined in section 2-26 for any purchase or contract supplies, construction materials and equipment or contractual services for the cost between $50,000 and $100,000. We're going to bring this ordinance back to next, in case there was like an emergency, that they can do the competitive bid, which states the Oklahoma statute.
So you're asking us to approve this tonight? with
No,
the
we're
change
actually
in-
going to bring this back next meeting for
So
your
we're going to
approval.
table it?
So, yeah.
Okay. Can we just approve it with what she just, and say what she said?
So I believe the better process would be to have it notified. The concern is with the Open Meeting Act, when we have the actual ordinance with
It
the
wasn't there
language.
for them to look at.
I'm sorry?
It wasn't there for the people to look at.
Correct. So I believe that the better practice would be to bring it back. You certainly could pass it with the change, and then we could have these come back on is it the 6th?
Yes.
Is the next meeting with the revised language that she'd requested.
Are the two we passed, they're not going to be changed?
So I don't believe so. My understanding is after we had raised some of the limits, there was some additional discussion about certain times where you might have under our purchasing manual, which is things that are under $100,000, but over the $50,000, which council just approved, times where purchasing might not want to go to competitive bids and they might want to just do the quoting process. That process is certainly allowed under state law. We just have to have our purchasing manual and our ordinances say however council wants to do that. It's entirely up to this body.
I was asking a simpler question. I'm sorry.
I
was
didn't
just saying,
understand your
We
question.
don't have to bring the two we've approved back.
No.
No.
Okay, so we just need to table item K. And will we need to table any of the others? Are we amending any of the others?
No, the other
It's
two
just this
are
one.
to 50,000.
Okay,
limits.
then I'll make a motion to table item K or ordinance number 3755 until the next meeting. Which is-
Second.
Yeah.
I have a motion and a second to table. Roll call. All right. Item 11M, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3756.
With the changes being made to the city manager's purchasing authority, as well as changes made to the Oklahoma Competitive Bidding Act related to public trust, the foregoing section is no longer required. Contracting with public trust has been addressed in the ordinance before you. The changes make it obsolete and staff recommends appeal.
Any discussion? Make a motion to adopt ordinance 3756.
Second.
We have a motion and a
Scott
second.
seconded.
Roll call.
Move for emergency clause in just a second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Way to go, Lisa.
All right. Item 11O, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of 3757. Cindy? Sorry, one more.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the one we just,
Oh, 3756, that's one.
we did.
oh, I'm
56.
sorry. I got them mixed up.
Did we vote on the
I
wrong
hope
one?
we voted on the right one.
We're gonna-
Well, we passed 3756. I'm not sure if that's the one we talked about.
Yeah.
We didn't
Actually,
mean
I'm
to.
sorry. I actually did 3757. I thought you said 3757. Sorry. 3756. How would we handle that? We have to just go back.
No, we've passed 37.
We passed
it.
We
Already
passed it.
You can tell us about it.
Okay. That was about, all that was the rejection of bids. I really thought you said, I'm sorry. I thought you really said 3757.
Hope we don't change our minds.
3756 was just, was the rejection of bids up to 50,000.
Okay.
Same thing.
Okay. Okay.
So
We're gonna-
basically, I already discussed, and I apologize about that it's the changes to section 2-34 is obsolete and staff recommends repeal.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
Remarks and
We need a-
inquiries by
we
We
governing.
need an emergency clause.
Oh, so sorry.
Make a motion for emergency clause.
Second?
A motion and second, roll call.
Might need it tonight.
All right. Now remarks and inquiries by governing body members.
Well, I was going to, last Thursday, the 10th, I celebrated my son's 21st birthday by attending the Metropolitan Environmental Trust awards banquet. He didn't go with me for some reason, but at the banquet, the city of Broken Arrow was awarded the 2022 Green Government City Award because of our work with recycling and other work. So I thought it was important to make note of this, to celebrate the accomplishment by the city, and to thank this council and prior councils for investing in this issue. At the meeting, or at the awards banquet, I had a chance to, the rest of the council was there. The only one who wasn't was Councilor Parks, and I thought it was befitting to mention that he's probably the one who drove this the most. And I mentioned that to them the other night as well, that if you thank this award, you need to thank Johnny Parks. But I also want to commend the city manager and his vision for helping us implement this and hiring a great staff with Jerry Schubert and Galea. Abano, thank you. I didn't want to pronounce it incorrectly, for their work on the recycling program and the solid waste work, because it truly is, we talk about being an environmentalist or not. It's just simple conservation. It's taking care of what the good Lord gave us. And in Broken Arrow, we've been doing a good job of that. And I was pleased to have that and was excited for the mayor to accept it on behalf of the city, and was excited as a member of the Met Board to be able to give it to the mayor. So it's been a great, I'm proud of Broken Arrow and its work in this, and thank Michael and the staff and this council's work on it as well.
Thanks, Scott.
Well, I'd just make a comment. I wasn't there. I was making a presentation for the proclamation for the mayor at the Optimist Club. And so I'm sorry to miss it. I know you mentioned my name because I did hear from people. And I got to thinking a while ago and laughing. The first time when we first brought this up, 25 years ago, I nearly got run out of town. So seriously, people were really upset to take their trash bags away from them. And I wouldn't have been able to celebrate this 40-year pin that had happened. So anyway, it was quite a ride, and appreciate everybody's work on it. Scott's on the committee. So, and it's worked out so smoothly. The system has, I haven't really gotten any complaints, on anything on it. So done a good job. We did a good job. Staff's doing a great job.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else?
I didn't write down my amendment this week, but I celebrated the Constitution last week by voting. So I hope
Yes.
everyone else did too, and had a watch party at my house. And where else? I don't know. I mean, does people in every state have big, huge parties for watching election results? Or is it just my house? But it was actually a pretty big party. But how fun to be able, I love the whole process of elections and the results and all that good stuff. And so that's how I celebrated the Constitution. So to be
I love our
continued.
state's election process.
Yes, that's true. Some of them, they're still working on it.
Election season.
It takes a little longer for some states to figure out how to count, but that's all right. So it's really not all right, but we'll work on that.
City manager, do you have any remarks?
I do, Mayor. Thank you. Good evening, members of council. Just a few things. First, let me just echo the comments of the governing body about Councilmember Parks. I just wanted to say on behalf of the current leadership team and all the employees and all the past employees, and as you know, we had our former assistant city manager of administration and then HR director that came out this afternoon to pay his honor and respects for you. I just thank you for all you've done and provided the leadership and the support that you've given all of the administrations over the years. So thank you very much, Mr. Councilman Parks. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Secondly, is this Thursday is the tree lighting ceremony. It's going to be at 6:30 is when we're actually going to turn the lights on. Folks can come down as soon as they want to because the business will be open. We're going to start the music around 6 o'clock or so. I heard a lot of folks over the last couple of years say, could we start a little bit later? And I was trying to find that the porridge is just right in terms of getting folks down there. And so we'll see how this goes, but I'm very excited. I anticipate that we're going to have a lot, weather permitting, we have a lot of citizens come out, and we're going to have events happening up and down the street because, as you know, our Rose District is growing a lot larger in terms of where we have businesses and mixed use at. And hopefully that will continue over the years because of the investment, private investment that's being made with the support of the city. Two other things I want to mention. We have a lot of council committee. We have a lot of citizens committees that council members are a part of. And I just want to say thank you because there is so much going on in our community that there's no way that we could be able to make good decisions and have good policy discussions without there being input from the community, whether it's the streetscape, whether it's the looking at the gateways, and I could go on, the things that we've done that the council's been very supportive of, and it's paying real dividends in terms of you all being able to make very informed decisions, and it takes a lot out of your schedules to do that, and I just want to say thank you because I couldn't be happier that you're making that commitment and you're involving the citizens, so thank you very much. And the last thing is I'm going to take 2 minutes and I'm going to ask Aaron to come up and just give you an overview of the launch of our new app because it was kind of secretive about what was going on the last couple of days. And I really couldn't say anything because I was sworn to secrecy, but I want him to share exactly a little bit about the new app.
And you'll get your bonus check next week for that too. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Congratulations on your 40 years of service, and thank you for what you do for our community. As Mr. Spurgeon alluded to, and if you may recall, back in April, we presented to you the new app that we wanted to replace the previous app that we've been using since 2015. We did finally launch that today. Good day. I don't have download numbers just yet. I believe from our vendor, that's one of those things that we'll get on a day-to-day basis one day later. But this app, like I told the news station earlier today, is that the previous app had a real focus on reporting issues that were going on in our community. And this app still has that same focus, and it's one of the highlights of it. However, there's more content. There's more benefit to the user than just that. Some of those things include obviously making payments. You can go in and police are recruiting right now. You can actually go in and apply right through our app for one of those jobs, any of those jobs that we have here. Through Larry's department, you can apply for a permit or an application. So it's really, if you've seen some of the marketing materials, it really is the city at your fingertips. And that's one of the things that we really wanted to convey to the community and to create this app and give them a much more engaging experience and the ability to connect with us. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much what it is. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I love the app and I love
too.
the background, but just remind people too, they have to delete the old app, correct? And
Yes,
then
ma'am, that's correct.
And then download the new app.
And we have a message right now on the current app. We're going to leave it up for probably about 2 more weeks. Let people convert so that way they can see that. And because not everybody visits the app on a day-to-day basis, this will allow them that time to go into that app, see that message, and then go back in and do a search for My Broken Arrow Action Center app and download the new one.
And they can check events and I think they can even contact their council members.
That's correct. We made it
Yeah.
easier for them to connect you
Yes.
folks.
Might I suggest leaving it up for more than 2 weeks because old people like me sometimes don't open the app for up to 6 weeks at a time.
Duly noted. Will do.
Now, on mobile wise, like, will this be like, could you like make it where if you tap that, it takes you to the app?
I'm going to show my age and have to come a little bit closer and see what you're talking about.
Like,
I mean,
on the
it tells you,
website?
yeah, I'm on the website, the city website, and I just touched the picture because I just assumed it would open up to the app, but it does not.
So that is a feature that we have to upgrade with Granicus. That is a different provider from our app, and that we could do that where it clicks through, but we don't have that upgrade just yet.
I do want to mention that part of the impetus for doing this was the youth city council. If you recall that I talked about needing to have a more interactive app for folks to use. And so I do want to make sure they get the proper credit for suggesting that we move away from just an app that focused. And that was originally what we were trying to do, is provide folks an opportunity to report issues the city could address to where now we're more interactive. So the city council should be applauded for their suggestions. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. We have no executive session, so
Move to adjourn.
a motion. Second. And a second. Roll call. We are adjourned. I call the Broken Arrow Municipal Authority meeting to order. Roll call.
Ford.
Here.
Udi.
Here.
Parks.
Here.
Gillespie.
Here.
Wimpy.
Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. There's no public hearings, appeals, presentations, or awards. No general authority business. Any remarks from governing body members?
I do have a remark. When I was reading the report, and I do it every month, but it just, our recycling and trash people are doing such a good job. So in 1 month, and I know you all looked at this as well, 309,556 stops in 1 month. And out of that, we may have missed 120. However, I don't know that we really missed 120. Some people may have got their cans out late. But anyway, for that amount, 309,000, and to just do 120, I think needs to be applauded for sure. Yes. So good job. It's a lot of trash.
Yes.
Nice job, Katrina. I mean, Jerry.
Oh.
That's all I have.
All right. Remarks from city manager?
I have none. No.
Okay. We have no executive session.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Call the Broken Arrow Economic Development Authority meeting to order. And roll call in a moment.
Ford.
Here.
Udi.
Here.
Parks.
Here.
Gillespie.
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. We have no presentations, general authority business. Is there any remarks from governing body members? City manager?
No.
There's no executive session.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
All right.
All right. Good night, everybody. Yes, please do.
Good night. A little heater's going out the heat.
I know.
Just said 4. Did I not hit
Your
it?
vote didn't register.
I didn't think my vote registered.